Hi,
Hi there. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
Well, this is Kathy again, and we've got Miss Johnna from OSU Extension, and she's going to do another cooking class for us. Um, are you ready to get started?
I am all ready.
Okay.
So,
All right. Let me get me off of here and put you on.
okay, guys. Hi. How everybody's? I hope everybody's doing well. Can't talk today. Again, my name is Johnna, and I am a program assistant for the SNAP Ed program here in Ross County. I am an employee of Ohio State University, and I'm housed at the Ross County Extension office. And today we are going to talk a little bit about sugar, but not in depth. But I'm also going to talk about everybody's favorite subject this time of year, pumpkin. We're going to do pumpkins, ice cream, and pumpkin bars. They're cake bars, kind of come, but they're going to be something that is quick and easy, not a whole lot of cooking. These are a couple of quick little recipes to put in your back pocket if you have unexpected guests pop up someplace over the next few months with the holidays rolling in. I mean, I hope no one pops in on you. Obviously, we're kind of supposed to be quarantined, but you know how that goes. So, first recipe we're going to talk about, and Kathy will be putting these over into the chat box over there, so you'll be able to see those. Oh, there's my slide.
Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. I forgot all about it myself. So before I get started here, I always want to point out on this slide, obviously my contact information is on there. So if you have any questions, you can reach me at that email address, or you can always call the Ross County Extension office and just ask for Johnna. And then the two websites and hashtags that we really, really, really like is the SNAP Ed Works, which is the celebrateyourplate.org website. And that is SNAP Ed's program in itself. We have a lot of really good recipes. There are some worksheets on there for kids, like activity sheets. There are kitchen hints and tips. There's all kinds of good stuff on there. And then the other one is obviously our My Plate, the celebrateyourplate.org or hashtag celebrateyourplate. These two sites have a lot of really good information. The My Plate's going to go ahead and show you the 5 food groups and how to incorporate those into your daily diet and menu planning. So check both of those out. Thank you, Kathy. I'm glad you remember that because I had totally forgotten. Thank you. Okay, so our first recipe today is the pumpkin cake or bars. How you make a cake into a bar is to make it thinner. So the biggest thing is you want to make sure that when you're baking bars, you use a large pan, because if you make them too thick, you're just going to get a thin cake. So we want to make sure you use a large enough pan. The recipe calls for a 10 by 15, and all I had was an 11 by 9. So yeah, it works out. Not strong on math, but I can handle it. Okay, so actually the recipe calls for a box of spiced cake mix. Well, when I went to the local store, there was no such thing in the store. So I got a box of yellow cake mix. And you know me, if I can't find a way to make it work, I'll find some way to make it work. So I found a little recipe to turn a yellow cake into a spice cake, and that is on this recipe that's going to be attached today. And all you're going to do is we're going to add some nutmeg, some cloves, some ground ginger, and some cinnamon. Okay, so that is going to be on the recipe as well. So if you have trouble finding a spice cake like I did, all we got to do is buy yellow cake and convert it. So we got a can of pumpkin, which I have my own pumpkin that I grew and pureed myself, which is a whole other process, but it's the same as a canned pumpkin. And the box of cake mix and a half cup of water. That's all we need. So I'm going to start off by opening up my cake mix, and I'm going to dump it in my bowl here. And you don't even, if you've got a favorite cake mix, that's fine. But if you don't, as you can see, I bought the store brand because I'm all about saving money. I'm not cheap. I just like to save money. That's what I tell my kids anyway. They tell me I'm cheap, so I don't know. All right, so we're going to dump this in here. Easy peasy. And then to turn this into a spice cake, I am going to add 1 teaspoon of the cinnamon. Yep. I have to use my little spoon because the big one won't fit. Okay, so 2 half teaspoons make 1 whole teaspoon. And then a half a teaspoon of the nutmeg. Now, if you don't have all these spices on hand, but you do happen to have some pumpkin pie spice that you bought, it's the same thing, the same mixture. So you can always use that as well. Then we're going to use a 1/4 teaspoon of the ground ginger. And if you've ever used ginger, it is a nice flavor, but it is kind of strong. So make sure you don't use too much. Okay. So there's a 1/4 teaspoon of that. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of my ground cloves. Oops. I always forget to take these things out of here. I don't know why I put them in there. I buy bulk spices sometimes that have these little jars, and they always put these little things in there, and I'm not a big fan. Okay, so anytime you're adding seasoning to a dry mixture of any kind, you always want to make sure that you stir it around really well, because you want to get all those flavors blended in with your other flours and ingredients, because as I said, ginger is a pretty strong flavor, and if you got a big patch of it someplace, that might be a rude awakening for somebody if they take a big bite of that. So, make sure you stir it around, mix it well. If you read some of the older cookbooks, like maybe your mom or your grandmother had, they would tell you to sift the ingredients together. That is why, because when you sift it together, it blends those things together really well. But being as this is a cake mix, it's got a little bit of shortening in it. You can't really sift something like that. And as I said, it calls for a 15-ounce can of canned pumpkin. Well, this is a 16-ounce bowl. As you can see, it's not quite to the top, so that's 15 ounces. So I'm going to put this in here. If you notice, if you buy canned pumpkin in the store, it's usually dark orange, like a burnt orange. And if you look at my pumpkin, see how orangey yellow that is? That's just the difference between fresh pumpkin versus canned pumpkin. And another thing, a good thing, if you have some a chance to make your own pumpkin puree, you can control what's in it. Obviously, most pumpkins are only going to be, almost knocked my light over there, 100% pure pumpkin, but sometimes I put food colorings and other things in it. So when you make it yourself, you can pretty much determine what's in there. Okay, there's all my ingredients. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start stirring. And you can do this with a mixer if you'd like, but I like the arm workout. This is the only closest thing I get to a gym right now is stirring things in the kitchen. So this is my workout.
Johnna, does the pumpkin have a different taste since it's fresh?
It's really, pumpkin itself does not have a really strong flavor. So it's really what you put in as far as seasonings anyway.
Okay.
What you don't realize is you can use pumpkin in casseroles. I have seen recipes where they use canned pumpkin as a moisture in meatballs and meatloafs, because it's a vegetable. It's not a fruit. Well, actually, technically, I guess it's both. But I mean, pumpkin is what you season it with. So
okay,
I just prefer the homemade pumpkin. And I have fun doing it. It is kind of time consuming, but I have fun doing it. So, okay, so there you go, guys. See how thick that batter is? That's how come it's going to be a bar. Okay, so let me get this out of the way here. I've already preheated my oven to 350 degrees. And I got my pan here. Just going to lightly coat it with some cooking spray. And make sure you get back in those corners, because that's where stuff always sticks, is back in the corners. And then let me take my spatula here, clean off my spoon. Get my measuring cup so it's out of the way. And then I'm just going to spoon this. Oops, I got some dry mix there. I had to get that mixed in. Just going to mix this all, or spoon this all out in here and spread it out even in the pan. Now, if you want to get a few more layers of flavor in there, you could throw in some pecans would be good in here, some crushed pecans. You could throw in some maybe little chocolate chips if you wanted to. You wouldn't have to necessarily put them in the mix. You could actually sprinkle them on top if you would like. You wouldn't have to actually put them down in the mix. Get that bowl out of the way. Now I'm just going to spread this out just like you would if you were making brownies. Now this is something else. I mean, you got to bake these for about 15 to 20 minutes, I guess. I'm sorry. So hopefully they come out good enough. But I'll have to send you a picture after, like I did a few weeks ago with the soup that I made. I'll post it on Facebook so you guys can see it. All right. So there we go. Look how easy that was. Now, one good thing about it too, I forgot to mention, there are 17 grams of sugar in the cake mix, but that was all the sugar that went in here because there was no sugar in the pumpkin. I didn't put any sweetening in, so it's just what's actually in the cake mix. Okay. All right, here we go. Pop them in the oven. And set my timer for, let's split the difference. We'll do 17 minutes. How's that? Okay. Now, so we're having kind of cake. So we need ice cream too, right? So get this over out of the way. I have made, and some of you who might have been in my classes before have seen me make the banana ice cream, which is awesome. Well, it's pumpkin season, so what do we got to do? We got to turn that ice cream into pumpkin ice cream, right? So for me to be a freezer queen, we eat a lot of bananas in our house, but there's just my husband and I. So, usually have a couple of them in the bunch that don't get eaten. They start getting really brown. Actually, I've got some other right now that I'm going to have to do something with. So what I do is I just keep a bag in the freezer all the time, and I break those bananas up into pieces, and I throw them in the freezer and keep them in there. That way, I have always got banana ice cream, or I've got a foundation for a really good smoothie. You can put them into, when you're baking, you can take them out and thaw them out and smash them up and put them into banana bread. Don't ever throw a banana away just because it's too ripe. Even if it's really ripe, they're really good. The riper a banana gets when you're using it to cook with or bake with, the sweeter they are. So that's the really good thing about this recipe. It calls for 2 ingredients. We have got 4 to 6 very ripe bananas, lots of black spots, frozen, and then a half a cup of fresh canned pumpkin puree, which I have. What do I do with it? Right here again, from my canned pumpkin puree that I made. So I'm guesstimating there's probably 6 bananas in here. So I'm going to throw these in here. Now, when you take these out of the freezer and you're going to do this, you want to make sure you take them out a little bit ahead of time, because if they're frozen rock hard, sometimes your food processor or your blender, whatever you're using, has a little hard time with it. So make sure you take them out just a little early. And then we have a half a cup, already measured out, pumpkin puree. Put that in there. I just made this pumpkin up yesterday. And just a word to anybody who spent a lot of money making or buying pumpkins for decorations right now, which, come on, guys, we know they're kind of expensive. They're pretty, and I got a bunch of them sitting around my house. As you can see, I've got one sitting over here in the corner. When you're done with those, pumpkins don't go bad unless you let them sit out in the hot sun. So when the fall season is over and you're getting ready to put out your holiday decorations or replace them with snowmen, don't throw those pumpkins away. Cut them in half, take the seeds out, take the pulp, the strings out, lay them in an oven on a cookie sheet for about an hour at 350 degrees and roast them up. Take them out, scoop the insides out, put them in your food processor, strain them a little bit, and you've got pumpkin puree. It's really super easy. Just Google it. That's how I learned how to do it. And all that money you spent on this pumpkin is not going to be wasted. Okay.
Yeah, I thought that would be harder than that.
Oh, no, it's time consuming because you have to, after you got to roast them, then you got to let them cool, and then you got to put them through the food processor, and then you just can strain them through. I put them in a coffee filter in my colander. Put puree in it, let it drain out, and you'll usually get about a half a cup to a cup, depending on the size of your pumpkin, of liquid out of it. And you got to make sure you take that out, or you're going to have too much liquid in your recipes when you use it. I slap it in my good old freezer bags. In my car, and lay it flat in the freezer and freeze it out, and I got pumpkin all winter long.
Wow.
Okay. Now this calls for some honey or pure maple syrup. I know what I'm forgetting. I know I was going to forget that. if you want to get it really super sweet. But these bananas, I know, are going to be pretty sweet. So I'm going to just throw in a little bit of pumpkin pie spice since I've got it here. I'm going to put in about a half a teaspoon. Yeah, maybe just a little bit more. To taste. You put your seasoning in to taste. And I want mine just to be, I like to have a little bit of that spice in there. Okay, guys, I'm going to apologize up front. This is going to be a little loud, but here we go. You normally have to stop a couple times and smash it around a little bit because your bananas, like I said, they're frozen, so it's kind of thick. Now, if you ever find out that your ice cream is going to be too thick and you can't get to go through the food processor, just put like a tablespoon of milk in and then just add as you need, if you need more. Okay, stir one more time, and I probably am going to have it here. You gotta smell this, guys. If anybody is a big pumpkin spice fan, this is your deal right here. And you're gonna be amazed how thick this is. And then just one more thing, since I like a lot of goodies in my ice cream, I'm going to add in about a quarter cup of chopped walnuts at the end here. Mix it. All right, let's see what's going on here. Okay, where's my ice cream dipper? Look down in there. Can you believe that's just bananas and some pumpkin?
Looks great.
And then look how it dishes up. It's just like ice cream.
Ice cream, yeah.
Now, you don't have to eat this right away. And I have never done this because it doesn't last very long in my house. But here. So wow. You can put this in the freezer, which is what I'm going to do with the rest of this, and keep it for, it'll stay in the freezer for, a month or so. You just have to take it out and let it thaw out just a little bit ahead of time. So it'll soften up enough because it will get pretty solid, just like the bananas would do. But by making this up myself, okay, the only sugar is the natural sugars in the banana. And you've got, I put the walnuts in, so you got a little bit of protein there. Good way to keep the kids hungry, keep being hungry. Oh my gosh, guys. Oh yeah. Now, it's not super, super duper sweet. So if you're expecting a super, super sweet ice cream like you would get in the store, it's not going to be that way, but it's pretty good. Oh yeah, I'm going to put that away. You guys are going to be mad at me for eating in front of you. Okay, we got about another 10 minutes on our pumpkin bars, so it may not get done. But like I said, I'll put a picture up after class, after they have the video up. Liz and Kathy will put the video up on the Facebook website, and I'll put that up so you guys can see the finished product. Just keep in mind on those pumpkin bars too, like I said, you can sprinkle the top of them with pecans. You can put some chocolate chips on there. They're not a real. They're just a little bit more cakey than a brownie when they get done. So this ice cream on top of these pumpkin bars would be the perfect dessert. And you're going to have 17 grams for the whole cake mix of sugar for the cake mix, and then whatever the natural sugars in the banana would be. And it's a great low sugar, healthy dessert for anything you got coming up.
So, Johnna, you said that ice cream would last for a month in the freezer?
In the freezer, if you can keep it. Like I said, I never put it in the freezer.
That would not last for a month in my freezer.
Mine either.
I can tell you right now, I'll put this in this container and I might stick it in the freezer, but it'll be gone by tomorrow evening.
So we had a couple of comments on Facebook. Somebody said that she tried that recipe out this morning and made it in cupcake in a cupcake mold to make little pumpkin muffins. That sounded really delicious.
Yes, and that is on the recipe. I'm glad she caught on to that because you can put it in a bundt pan if you want to make like a bundt, because it's going to be a heavy. It's not going to be a light cake even if you would make it as a cake. So you can put it in bundt pan. You can put it into muffin tins. You can do it like a bar. If you wanted these to be chewier, you would have to use even a bigger pan. Like I said, the bigger your pan, the thinner your batter is spread out, the chewier the bar is going to be. So it's whatever your personal preference is.
Yeah, and I've made that recipe as cookies too.
Yes.
Oh,
But I put chocolate chips in mine. So you just mix the spice cake mix, the pumpkin puree, and then chocolate chips. And it's kind of like those chocolate chip pumpkin cookies they sell at Kroger around this time of year.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I like them year round, and you can't find them year round. So.
And you can take any cake mix and like you could take this yellow cake mix and then maybe put in some applesauce if you don't like pumpkin and do the same thing. Because you can actually, there is a Weight Watch program that a lot of people have subscribed to before. And one of their big things is taking a white cake mix and putting diet soda in with it. And that's all you use, those two ingredients, and it'll bake up into a cake.
Oh.
So the box cake mixes are, if you're around this time of year, I always try to make sure I've got a couple on my shelf because they're the great go-to. Like I said, if you got unexpected visitors pop in, or maybe something at work, you got to have a quick dessert to take in. Throw in a couple ingredients, and they're awesome. And you can decorate them up with anything. So,
we also had somebody say thank you for explaining how easy it is to make your own pumpkin puree. That was another of the comments.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was at a farmer's market a couple weeks ago, and there were some ladies there, and I watched them both go out with wagons full of pumpkins. And I'm talking, one lady spent $140 on pumpkins. And I'm thinking, oh, they're going to take this home, and they're going to let them sit on their porch, and then they're going to throw them hopefully in the compost pile, but, probably in the trash when they're done with them. And it's just like, oh, there's so much food there. You can always recycle anything you have like that. So always keep that in mind. And if you don't know how to do it, guys, we've got those smartphones they're more than just for Facebook and texting. Look stuff up. They're the biggest resource as far as cooking you could ever have, because that's where if I come into a stumbling block, I'll just look it up online.
Something that I love to do is I love to make my own broth. Yes. And so whenever we have pumpkins, we like to carve them into jack-o'-lanterns. After that, you really can't eat the pumpkin. But the goop that you scoop out of the middle, you can make broth with that. And it is the most beautiful golden broth.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
I'm glad you brought that up too, Liz, because you know what else you're scooping out of there? You're scooping all them seeds out of there.
Mm-hmm.
You take your pumpkin seeds out and rinse them off really well, get all of the pulp out of them, lay them out, let them dry really well. Then take them and coat them with a little bit of olive oil. Just put them in a bowl and put maybe like a tablespoon of olive oil, shake them around, just pop them in the oven for about 15, 20 minutes, and you got roasted pumpkin seeds. And you can eat those as a snack. You can eat them in salads. You can put them in granola mixes. You can put them in snack mixes. And I mean, that's something, that's a free snack right there. And kids love them. Got to be careful you don't burn them because they will burn really easily.
I've done that a number of times.
I have to. Between granola and pumpkin seeds, I have burned up a lot of cookie sheets in my house.
Okay, all right, so next week is the last week of this series. We have our kids' dessert next week.
We're going to do a magic fruit salad next week with the kids. Yeah.
And that is one that there is an ingredient kit. So anyone who's interested in the ingredient kit, make sure you register for that one.
Yes.
And then Johnna will be back with us for one class each in November and December.
That's right.
They're not on the calendar yet, but
I'm still working on coming up with all the goodies for you guys. So I'm trying to come up with something really good since we're just going to do them once a month. So stay tuned for that. I'll try my best to impress.
I'm sure you will.
Okay, ladies. Well, I appreciate everybody hanging with me, and I will see you all. Parents come back with the kids. We have just as much fun with the kids as we do with the adults. So come on back.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All
what
right.
do you guys got going on? I mean, I saw how successful your movie
Yes, it was. It was great. It was Gremlins, and we had several people there. And just want to remind everybody that we're doing it every Friday in October. And this week, you can actually start voting for the movie that you want to watch this Friday night. Now, you just need to go on our Facebook page. Is that right, Liz? Facebook page?
Yes,
okay,
you go to the event for this Friday's movie, and you can pick between two movies. This is adult movie night this Friday. We have two. They're all Halloween movies this month, so you get to pick which of the two you want to watch this Friday.
Yes, it was a lot of fun last week.
Yes, and we have a new screen that's really big. Oh! Don't lose the bars.
I won't. They're getting there. You can see where they're browning up. Good thing I'm not taking those to a takeout, right? But they are browning up really good. So
good.
All right. I know, just wait around to see what kind of dumb thing John's going to pour. Right?
Or me. Okay. Well, I guess.
Thanks again, Johnna.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That was. I'm going to try that. Looks yummy. So.
My house smells really good right now.
I bet it does. Okay. Well, we'll see you next week.
All righty. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.